Good morning, and here we are again. Yesterday, the national budget was read and presented to the Ugandans. That means the topic of concern now is how is it going to be implemented. The financial year 2023-2024 will be kicking off 1st July 2023 and will be coming to an end 30th June 2024. What a time to be alive, and many thanks for joining us at this time into our business insight for the day as we look at the post-budget breakdown for the financial year 2023-2024. All our conversations and discussions till the 1st of July will be rotating around the post-budget breakdown. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. Welcome on board. This is Smart Means Business. But as we start off our discussion this morning, remember to be part of the ever-growing world of investments. Star 292 is the USSD code that you can use to kickstart off your investments with the Zabu platform. Zabu says, my money, my future. And with Altex East Africa, you are reminded to always do something new. And remember that as you are getting yourself into proper context, all you need to understand is that Zabu is a platform that is powered by Altex East Africa, and it does remind you to stick to something new that is quite important, and as well as growing your investments with the platform. Remember, with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can choose to invest in government bonds or other securities. Remember, the markets on the platform are open from 8:15 a.m. and closing time is 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Well, as we go deeper in understanding the national budget now, we head into our conversations this morning. Joining us on set is Mr. Ben Sebuguzi, who is from the office of the national, the office of the chairman, the national chairman. Good morning, and many thanks for joining us this morning.
I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful, Sonko. I'm so glad that I've come to the studios of Smart Television, where business is very prioritized.
Okay, briefly, from the office of the chairman, of the national chairman, what happens in there and what do you do in regards to the social and economic breakdown of Uganda's kind of situation that we're in?
Thank you, Mr. Sonko. The office of the national chairman, I'm privileged to be working there, and the office is headed by Madam Hadija Namialo, who is our manager, but it is the office of the president, office of the national chairman of NRA. So we have numerous projects that we are running as an office of the national chairman headed by General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, and we've been very, very pivotal in helping and promoting wealth creation. As we've seen, the president has been making countrywide tours, and we've been very close to him, making sure that the people get value for their money. And we have a project called Wealth Creation Project, where we've been helping a lot. We've given out goats, chicken. Actually, we have a package for the people whom we give you about 200 chicken. We give you feeds, a complete package. We even give you vet services. There's no project that is wholesome like we have. So the office of the national chairman is very, very important when it comes to helping people overcome poverty. And the president is focusing on 39% of the people who are not in the money economy. So for us, we come in to complement the government projects like PDM, Nyoga, and so forth.
You've mentioned the president saying, and of course yesterday he did mention that the 39% of the Ugandans that are supposed to also tap into the money economy. Now, as a matter of fact, one of the key priorities for the next financial year is human capital development. When you come to think of it, how possible is it going to be? Now, for example, entities like yours, and to make sure that the Ugandans are getting into this particular money economy, because we want to improve the household incomes of almost every Ugandan. And that is the key objective for the NRM manifesto this time around.
Very important. Mr. Sonko, human capital development is a very crucial sector, whereby it helps in the formation of human capital or human capital in such a way that if we don't educate our children, we shall have a challenge in the future.
Okay.
If we don't give our people good health, if we don't invest in good hospitals, if we don't invest in healthcare,
yes,
we shall have a problem. So this sector, human capital, is very pivotal in economic growth, eradicating poverty, and even equitable social equitable distribution.
Okay.
So we are looking at people. If we don't take our children to school, we shall have illiteracy. But as you can see, over the years, the government has been investing in human capital development, and you've seen the literacy rate that have fallen from 53% to about 70. You understand? They have risen. The literacy rate has risen from 53% in 1990s to about 70%. So which means that now we have labor as a very crucial sector. We have invested in it. That's why it's that now we even have people who are going for abroad for jobs, because we have prepared our labor as a source of capital, and we are earning a lot of money from remittances because we have prepared our labor force. So it's a very crucial sector.
Okay, indeed it is. But as well, if you come to think of it, we have a 52.7 trillion budget. When you look at this as a program-based budget, there is something I got to realize with the conversations I had yesterday, one with the Permanent Secretary to the Treasury, Mr. Ramadan Gobi. He mentioned something regarding how the parish development model, you've mentioned that the Office of the National Chairman, you make sure that such programs are implemented.
Right.
He didn't mention that they are doing so well in the first year of the parish development model, even though there were some cases that were rotating around misuse of these funds and everything.
True.
But when you look at it deeply, we are now into the second year of its enrollment. How far has it achieved, its core objectives?
Now let me start by educating our people about the parish development model. It is a model which was designed by government to help the end users, the people on the people at the local parish. Okay. So you see that there is a parish development committee, and you are seeing the people themselves sitting down, identify the gaps they have, find solutions. So if a community says that we want to invest in coffee, they can do it. So we have a parish deciding on what they can do best. So that is how government is empowering decentralization. And it was premised, I'll give you an example. The parish development model was premised to deepen decentralization, improve household income, increase productivity. You understand? And it was designed in alignment with the PDP3. You know, the PDP3 has 5 objective areas. They want to promote private sector, promoting value addition, deepening governance. So all those are the things that you find that PDM has a full package. Actually, it's like a multi-purpose vehicle. So when you see the president putting a lot of focus, he has that willingness to make sure that the general population, even the leaders at the grassroots level, participating, because it's a game changer. So actually, it becomes burdensome when local leaders leave the burden to the president. A local leader should ask, how many coffee farmers do I have? How much output? If we can have an output from the parish, we know that in a parish, we can produce this, we can produce this. So if we aggregate it as a whole country, we'll find that we are producing enough. True. But people are seeing it are not seeing the benefit of decentralization, where leaders from LC1, LC2, S3, S4, S5, members of parliament, they should be partaking, they should be participating. Instead of talking ill of the program, they should be helping the president to implement this project.
Okay. Yes. And of course, if you're to look at the parish development model, which is also one of the key priorities, again, for the next financial year, simply because Ugandans have to all get inclusive in regards to getting into the money economy. And of course, the president does believe as well that with the 39% of those who are already not yet into what you could call the money economy, or who are regarded as the poor Ugandans, should as well be having a say in regards to improvement in their households and how they are living in the next few years. Yes. But of course, as we continue with our post-budget breakdown, you get to realize that there's also another huge concern in regards to Uganda's health sector. Our health system, or our health sector, is one of those that has always been a priority. But though this time round, it did not receive as much as is expected because there were some budget cuts in the financial year. When you come to think of it first, how are we going to deal with these current budget cuts in the next financial year? Most especially when it comes to matters that concern the livelihoods of Ugandans.
Now, before you bring in the
health sector.
The health sector. I want us to look at the budget. Okay. See, when you're seeing the budget, this budget was an icebreaker. It was it is a hot cake, the way you see it. Because if you look at the qualities of a good budget, it should be comprehensive, realistic. It should be having accountability. It should be transparent. All those things are embedded in that budget. And look at the budget is addressing macro and micro parameters. In the macro, you look at this budget is addressing, it is locating the cause of unemployment and how to solve unemployment, the cause of inflation and how to bring down inflation. That's why you see the bank rate, the CBR, was increased to 10. It is looking at how other countries are performing. We have to look at the balance of payment. All those are crucial issues, and this budget is addressing. You saw the president, the minister said that they are targeting at having 2.5 million jobs. That is very crucial for the young population, because we have the majority of people who are young. So you see that when we improve, when the youth get jobs, and the 39% who are not in the money economy join the money economy, it means that even the health sector will be functioning. I may not need to go to a government hospital when I have money, because we have private players. That's why you saw the president saying that this economy is going to be built by the private sector. The way you handle the private sector, the president was very emphatic on that. And he has no worries. He knows that if we can lobby the private sector, if we can lobby investors to come in, that would be a game changer. Even if the government doesn't have enough money, but we can even have like public-private partnerships. You've seen how we've erected a good stadium at Nachivo. It was not government money. Government comes in to give a conducive environment for private sector to thrive. But you see, we shall talk about even the industry industry sector. You saw they removed the taxes on raw materials which are coming in. Actually, it was one of the highlights. The takeaways in the budget was how the South African community has been able to harmonize and agree that we should not levy taxes on raw materials, and we should have a standard excise duty rate on goods which are coming in that we have and those which we don't have. You see that harmonization. East Africa is a big market, and our president is very pivotal in making sure that integration process thrives. So that is an advantage, and we see many opportunities coming in through that area.
Okay, and now let's look at the well-being of the Ugandans. We've for time said we're getting the Ugandans into the money economy, but currently though, the state of the economy, besides the statistics that we break down, you will come to realize that most of the Ugandans have less to even save It's only the few privileged Ugandans who have broken the barriers, either through business or through the rightful connections or through working in government agencies. But for those who are still struggling with their own businesses, you do realize most of them are just earning day-to-day income, which is very worse for them to at least have a living that can secure their future. How are we going to make sure that these Ugandans are not in this kind of circumstances anymore? Because it's a very huge concern.
Mr. Songo, we should first thank the government. I was seeing how other countries, actually I was seeing UK,
okay,
jubilating that they have overcome the recession because they got something, was it 0.2% economic growth? And for us, we are projecting 6% economic growth. And we registered on average of 5% economic growth. But remember, the developed countries are grappling with inflation. So after COVID-19, the global economy contracted because there was no production. Actually, it is something marvelous that for us, we've been able to overcome. We've been so resilient. Borrowing, you see in the budget, they have reduced borrowing. But so many countries are on rampage, are borrowing, you understand? So we're seeing a positive forecast. So much as COVID affected us, but we are having robust programs like the PDM, like the Myoga. So how can we get involved in production? How can we fight inflation? I was on my group. I told them that the president can control inflation. I mean, the president can control interest rate, can control the price of fuel, but he cannot control the price of food. If we don't get down to production, we shall not manage to fight inflation. And the moment the price of food is high, even the people's pockets will be low. So the question is, what are you producing yourself? If you are in a village, you have land. Why do you have a bushel land? The president is talking about 4-acre model. But he also showed us someone in Fort Portal who was making a lot of income from 1-point-something acres. You understand? Making a lot of money. So we are saying, if you are in a village, what are you producing? Because at the end of the day, the moment the demand is high, just accept that the food sector, food security, if it's not tackled very well, that's why the president is suggesting that solar power irrigation should be very pertinent in enforcing food security. So we are saying food is very crucial in our homesteads. We can put other things aside, but we should have food in our homes. For me, myself, I make sure that at least 50% of my food, I don't buy it. So I will not crowd in the market. I will not cause a lot of demand in the market. Even when I'm in the city, I'm in the city suburb, but I'm able to produce some food for myself. So, but the moment the demand is so high, that's why you find the price of beans at 6,000. President will not have control on the price of food. But we are seeing the PDM, because the PDM is premised on 7 pillars. You understand? It's premised on what? 7 pillars. So those pillars are the yardsticks. It's based on production, storage, processing, and marketing. We are seeing infrastructure coming in, financial inclusion. We are seeing governance there. So all those things, if we follow this enclave of PDM, it's going to be a game changer.
Okay. Yes. And of course, after the break, we're going to be discussing something to do with value addition. You know, value addition is something that has been discussed greatly by the president in regards to the fact that Ugandans need to not only focus on subsistence farming, but also commercialize their agriculture practice. Since last year, with which the financial year is coming to an end this very month, 30th June, commercial agriculture is also part of the key discussions in regards to the parish development model. But of course, when you come to think of it further, is that Ugandans now have turned food crops into cash crops, which the president did identify yesterday, saying examples like maize Back then it was only food. But now when you look at maize, avocados, you look at the other food crops that are available.
Say the 3 C's and the 3 T's. Those were colonial crops. Now we have, government has identified new cash crops that we are earning a lot.
Yeah, so and the cash crops that were previously termed as food crops. So you can easily see how fast the Ugandans are going into commercialization of their agricultural practices. But of course, as we return, we talk value addition. Not only that, we talk matters, governance and security. Today, though, we are going to be breaking down again the budget that is in regards to the post-budget breakdown. So you should be having your eyes here on Smart 24 television, as we'll be having another key discussion from the time we've started with this one till the end of live broadcast time here on the station. Good morning, you're still watching Smart Means Business. When we return, we have discussions, value addition, governance and security. Smart 24, driving business.
My name is Kaheru Bright Bernard, a sales and marketing consultant with Bukona Agro Processors. Bukona Agro Processors is a local manufacturer of green energy, specifically ethanol for clean cooking. The factory was established in 2013. Factory work started by 2019, and by 2020 we got support from government through Uganda Development Corporation to further improve our production, manufacture stoves that would be used, that would use ethanol for clean cooking. So with that fuel, we're producing fuel, green fuel, with the bio stoves for clean cooking. And we are in a partnership with GLU Diocese that has about 9,000 local farmers producing cassava, which is a bio, which is a raw material for the production of ethanol. And we also use maize and grain, specifically sorghum, for production of the fuel. And currently we are exporting to Kenya. We have a partnership with Vivo Energy that supplies Cocoa Networks, a distributor of clean cooking solutions within Nairobi, Kisumu, Nakuru and other parts of Kenya. We're also distributing within the local market in Uganda, but with of course the production of biostoves, we hope we shall also improve our distribution network within Uganda to develop the culture of clean cooking using ethanol made from cassava that is locally produced here. And we hope that is going to support sustainable development goals, specifically SDG 13, 7, and 3, since our effort is to reduce the use of charcoal that has seen a lot of forests cut down, that has seen a lot of Mother Nature being lost, and most importantly, carbon emissions that are being emitted into the sky, causing a lot of green energy issues here and there. So we hope with as we scale up further with support from government, specifically Uganda Development Corporation, we shall be in position to achieve these objectives, develop that culture of clean cooking, and how people consume more of that fuel. And within our community, we have really had a lot of impact, created a lot of jobs for the local farmers, about 9,000 farmers under the Archdiocese of Gulu Catholic Church. And of course, the local people within Nyoya, within Gulu, and the surrounding areas have gotten employment. We're employing close to 200 people on a daily basis as temporary and permanent staff. And that has really had a lot of impact. And we are hopeful that as we scale up this production process within the local industry, energy, specifically the energy sector, we shall change lives and we shall improve how we consume, how we cook, how we ensure we are consuming our environment through effective, clean and healthy cooking solutions.
Smart 24, driving business. We'll be back from the break, and of course you are still watching Smart Means Business, and the Business Insight today is looking at the post-budget breakdown as we continue to analyze a little bit more of what was presented or what was read yesterday to the Ugandans. The budget for the financial year 2023-2024 is worth 52.7 trillion budget for the Ugandans, and of course as we usher into the financial year that is starting up at starting 1st July 2023, you get to realize that it's something that you should as well look at further. But well, when we look at the issues to do with governance and security, but before that, value addition. We've mentioned commercial agriculture, and you get to realize that the reason, one of the reasons as to why commercial agriculture is growing is adding value to these particular crops because of the rise of our industries.
True.
When you look at it from the low-income Ugandans or low-income earning Ugandans or the wananchi, you could say, what should they know about value addition and why should they take part really in it? For example, those who have raw materials that may be agricultural products or the other few.
Mr. Sonko, the president has been very particular and emphatic on value addition. Because value addition, according to the planning, value addition is supposed to accommodate more people than agriculture. That's why the president is saying we must add value on coffee. We must add value on palm oil. We must add value because you are saying that according to the reports, when we promote value addition and industrialization, as you see, we get more value. Right now, the government has stepped up, and you see import substitution and export promotion have really yielded highly because of these people who are making soap, who are making iron bars, who are making these small things, and we're exporting them in the region. So as a country, we must find out our competitiveness. Actually, the location, for me, it's the location of Uganda as one of the competitiveness we have, because we are saying that we are a landlocked country. But look, being in the middle of East Africa means that we have, if we can attract more industries, we can have a good distribution in the whole of East Africa, because we are in the middle. So we should take it as an advantage to ourselves than saying that we are a landlocked country. So that's why the president is saying we have a bigger population of East Africa. We are coming to COMESA. We are coming to African Free Trade Area. So why doesn't Uganda become a hub of industries? Because you have the human capital, which is educated. We have a human capital which is healthy. Even our life expectancy has increased. So we have affordable capital. Why can't we attract investors here? So when we attract investors, we add value addition on our products. Then our economic growth will grow. Like the president projects that he wants to see that Uganda at least attains $5,000 billion, at least a quarter of South Korea. So we are looking at those things. We cannot reach there if we don't add value addition on our crops.
Okay. Now let's look at some of the other key points that the budget did not address. And according to you, you feel if the budget further addressed or hinted hard on some of these particular situations as priorities for the next financial year, we would be good to go.
Just remind you, Mr. Sonko, the way this budget was made. You see, a budget starts from budget preparation. It goes to Parliament. That's why you see the budget framework papers, blah, 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 until it is read. Even there is execution of the budget. So all those things are made in line with the NRM manifesto. So as NRM, we are seeing this budget as very, very, very compatible with our desires. If you can see, UNRWA was given 2.4 trillion just to consolidate the roads, maintain them, because these ones are going to ease the cost of doing business. You see 1.1 trillion was put in the water sector. National Water has a program called Water for All. Accessing water should not be a privilege. It is actually economic growth is thirsty for water. If we don't have water, then we cannot have good economic growth. That's why these sectors are very, very paramount. We saw in the budget that 200 billion was given out to pay areas. This is a good motivation because these are small businesses and they're going to get that money. Yes. So just to show you where the budget lacks somewhere. Okay. Yeah, I saw the minister saying that you can now buy bonds using mobile phone. I was so impressed. That's a breakthrough. You understand? But when you see the securities market is so huge, I didn't see the minister talking deeply about the stock exchange market. I see you guys having a program. Yeah, financial markets. The financial markets. It's very impressive. We want to see how can the working class... And they had actually said that our financial markets is growing. It's one of the fastest growers in East Africa. That's great. So we want to see how are our people involved in the stock exchange market. Because by doing so, these people are putting their money where they can earn more. You know, not everyone's going to go in agriculture. You understand? But people, this working class, they have their money and they're spending it on consumption. Someone buys a fridge of 5 million. Why don't you put at least 3 million in the stock market and buy an affordable fridge? Because these people are not enlightened. So the Capital Markets Authority has to come up with a campaign on how to promote our security exchange. Because the more we have the consumption behavior, we shall be helping foreign companies. Because if you buy a big screen TV, which is worth 10 million, you are helping, I mean, South Korea, even though we have a company that makes TVs here, you have a company that makes TVs and radios, you have a company that makes phones, but we find that most of our people are import-oriented. I didn't see in the budget emphasizing Bubu. We want to see how our products are displayed in the supermarket. I remember during Honorable Media Chambade, she was very emphatic on Bubu. You understand? Because so many products, actually, I wanted to buy a Ugandan pen,
Okay.
but I could not find it in the shops. Yet we have nice, but I don't see them in the shops. What is happening? Is it because of COVID? So we must find out.
Okay.
Insurance, I was seeing insurance, we are working in uncertainty. So, because we are in a marathon, we must insulate ourselves using insurance. The uncertainty, there are so many risks, financial risks, business risks. So, who are the partners? So, according to Insurance Security Authority, they're saying that the premiums have grown. I didn't see my minister highlighting it. You understand? Because that is progress. So, nevertheless, this budget is going to help us register minimal growth, because our target is 6% economic growth in the medium term, 7% in long term.
Okay.
And we are going to make it. We are seeing the oil, the refinery, the exploration. You are going to see the economy rebounding and gaining momentum. As the president said that, actually, the minister said that our shilling was depreciating at a lower rate compared to the average rate in the East African region. You can see that the macro and microeconomics are being managed well.
Let's look at the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy in there. First and foremost, as we're pushing for this as an agenda, briefly, by the look of things, the reason as to why most Ugandans are saying they don't buy Ugandan products, it's not about the quality, because now the quality is up there, really, the price. And you realize that their products are Ugandan products in some retail shops or other, name them, seem to be more expensive than the ones that are imported. And the reason as to why most of the Ugandans most of the traders in Uganda are selling highly is because of the taxes. Now, when you come to think of it, what are we going to do, to push for the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda policy if the Ugandans themselves are saying Ugandan-made products are more expensive than the imported ones?
I don't think so.
Not many, not all of them, but a few.
That's a lame excuse, let me tell you. You see, the president is very, very proud of putting on Ugandan-made shirts.
Okay.
You understand? But ask yourself, how many MPs have you seen putting on Ugandan-made shirts? Are they poor? They can't afford a shirt for 50,000?
They can.
They have no goodwill. The president is ahead of us. He wants to show, he's showing us what we should be doing. But we are not ready. For me, I have like 3 Bitenji shirts for myself. Because I know that so many people are being trained into tailoring and people are making good designs. Actually, I one time made a proposal during Golanya's tenure as a speaker that what if the MPs design at one day in a month, a local content day, whereby everyone puts on maybe a Chitenji shirt at Parliament. It becomes a policy. So many people will be getting jobs. So many people are there designing good stuff. But Ugandans, we are just colonial. We have a colonial mindset. We think that we can't do the best. But it should be a policy. You understand? So, Bubu is very, very important. We should be deliberate in whatever we're doing. I know it might be contravening some lately East African integration, the market protocols, the common market, blah, blah. But you can see there's no way you can promote your economy if you're not nationalistic.
Okay.
As long as you don't tax other people's, as long as you don't tax goods from the region, but you make people love what they produce, then it will push us further.
Okay.
Yes.
Governance and security. Let's talk deeper into governance and security. The NRM government has always been very proud when it comes to speaking about the security that it has provided for the Ugandans in the past 3 decades since it took over power. Now, when you come to think of it, what is likely when you come to think of the governance and security situations here in, in Uganda? The priorities are security and governance. I look at Uganda's security status currently. What needs to be done? Because we've seen a few cases of rise of gun violence recently. How are we going to curb such situations?
Yeah, I will not talk much about gun violence because that is a security issue. People concerned will talk about it, but I know they are finding a solution to that. But as you can see, it goes without saying that security and governance is very crucial. It's a very viable investment. You see, when you have political shocks, it causes volatility in markets. It causes hot money. You understand? Do you know about hot money? It chases away motor direct investment. You know motor direct investment? Those are FDIs. So, if you want to progress, security and good governance should be a pillar. And they are a foundation of our economic progress we've registered so far. So, this is something not debatable. It should not be debatable because it is a cornerstone. As you've seen, Ethiopia was an industrial giant.
Yeah.
But because they went to war, everything went to zero. So you've seen some West African countries. We don't want that to happen here. We must maintain peace and stability. We must avoid political disruptions. We should align our resources properly. We have water resources. We have land. We have our oil. We have our cash crops. We should have deliberate programs for export promotion. I know a good project called PASID, Presidential Advisory Committee on Industry and Development. That's a very good program. We should see how best to earn more foreign exchange. Because if we have less foreign exchange, our shillings would depreciate. We need to buy capital goods. We have to use what? Dollars. So if we want to increase our dollar deposits, we need foreign exchange. So we must bring our heads together, but we must start from the decentralization point of view. At the Paris development model, we produce, because right now the president was saying that we produce 9 million bags of coffee, but our target is about 20 million bags of coffee. We have the market. Why don't we focus in that area where we see opportunities? And we export and we get more money, and many jobs will be created.
Okay.
Yes.
And well, by the look of things now, the financial year is coming up. What are your recommendations from the various sectors that will lead to the social and economic transformation of Ugandans? Because when the budget is passed, we obviously expect Ugandans to at least benefit. At times, not many benefit, but through the services and everything, we are definitely benefiting in regards to that. But when we continue, when you come to think of it, what should be the recommendations from your perspective in this regard in relation to the national budget, 52.7 trillion? How are we going to help the Ugandans and improve their livelihood incomes?
As you see the budget, the theme is full monetization through commercial agriculture, industrialization, digitalization, and and so forth. So, as long as we can align our resources very well, as long as the government implements all these, because we have good roads, the issue of power, they're working on it. Actually, they're trying to nationalize the power entities so to bring down the cost of power. So, if the investment climate is good, they have built so many industrial parks. You see interventions like industrial hubs, about 19 of them, and they're churning out so many graduates. So you find that the Human Capital Development Index is going to grow. Jobs are going to be created.
Okay.
We've seen outsourcing business being reinvented. You understand? So we are saying, how are our youth going to be empowered? So the game changer is the PDM.
Okay.
Actually, the PDM plus the Office of the National Chairman project called Wealth Creation Project, the one I told you, those are game changers, and they are supposed to revolutionize and bring poverty to zero.
All right. Your final remarks as we are summing up with our conversations this morning. You mentioned a lot about wealth creation, though, but what are your final takes regarding the national budget, but also the current state of the Ugandans? That is very vital.
Yes. The economy is going to be gradually recovering. As I can tell you, COVID was a very big shock. But before we begin lamenting, we should ask ourselves, on a personal level, individual basis, what am I doing? What am I adding value? What am I producing on the market? Because if you don't answer those questions, you understand? Leaders should ask themselves, how is the parish development model performing in my area? Because the president is not going to be there. We should be a watchdog. Actually, Office of the National Chairman, our office, has coordinators all over. They are making sure that service delivery and implementation of the NRA manifesto are being monitored, that they are achieved. So, but we cannot be everywhere as coordinators. We should police ourselves. The game changer is production, work and work.
Okay.
We produce more food. The moment we have abundant food, then inflation will come down. When inflation comes down, it means even the cost of doing business will be low.
Okay.
Yes.
And well, of course, as we sum up with our conversations here, you get to realize that the national budget, again, according to the permanent secretary to the Treasury, it is a pro-people budget. He says he feels this one is indeed a pro-people budget because this time around the money is there. He did reveal that the money is there and they're going to make sure that they benefit. On the other hand, for the people in Kampala, the minister in charge of Kampala, that is Honorable Chofa Togabye, did mention that the roads are going to be started on in regards to maintaining and of course reconstructing for those that are supposed to be reconstructed, obviously, because they want to ensure that at least the movement of Ugandans is physical. Of course, when you look at what you have on your screen is that is the Kampala flyover. That will be completed hopefully by the end of this year, and
it's a magical project.
Yeah, it's going to be something that is going to shape up the outlook of the city. True. If you come to think of it. So ideally, what was intended is to at least make a city that is enjoyable for anyone who is actually moving within and those who are actually moving out of the city. So there are quite a number of developments. And then also what you need to understand is that in the next financial year, this coming financial year, we don't expect the merging of government entities. The merging of government agencies will take effect the financial year 2024-2025. That is according to Honorable Matia Kasaija, the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, that did mention. But well, of course, as we are summing up with our conversations, we are going to now have a look at the social media trends in regards to what social media had to say yesterday as we were into the budget reading. And of course, when you come to think of it, social media was actually wide and ablaze with the same kind of information. But before we even go into social media trends this morning, just to take you back briefly in what we've been having as our discussion, we've been looking at the post budget breakdown, a conversation that doesn't stop here. Today's entire broadcast is going to be rotating around that. We have quite a number of guests coming your way, and of course we will be discussing all and everything Uganda's national budget for 2023-2024. And well, of course, for those of you who've been with us from where we started, this is Smart Means Business, and my guest is Mr. Ben Sevuguzi, who has actually been here taking us through these particular discussions. And of course, it is something that we really need to understand in regards to the national budget. And of course, we were breaking down a little bit more. He mentioned something to do with Operation Wealth Creation. He mentioned something to do with when you look at value addition. He mentioned the PDM, which he does believe it's going to be very vital. And of course, he is the head of research from the Office of the National Chairman. And of course, for all of you that have been with us, it's a very wonderful pleasure as we come to the end of our Business Insight. But closely, before we go to get at the end of our Business Insight, let's have social media trends in regards to what was happening yesterday from the reading of the national budget. At Rona Nahawe with a tweet saying a breakdown. Financing for the 52.7 trillion shillings for the 2023-2024 budget. 29 trillion shillings is domestic revenue. That is coming in from where Uganda Revenue Authority's target is. President Museveni yesterday said that they are still joking around and they need to make sure that they collect that money. Then still with the breakdown from Rona Nahawe, 8.36 trillion was domestic debt refinancing, then 8.26 trillion external financing, then 3.8 trillion domestic borrowing, then 2.78 trillion for grants and loans, then 287.1 billion is in regards to local revenue from the government. So when you come to think of it, that is what is in from there, Rona Nahawe. And of course, the hashtag is Know Your Budget 23 at Smart24 TV now. Then henceforth, as Beinom Jisha Ivan with a tweet that where he was quoting President Yoweri Museveni's speech yesterday, saying, as I told you in the State of the Nation address, our economy will be $55.2 billion by the end of the coming financial year. This will remain that our economy will have grown by 37 times in size compared to Uganda's economy of 1986. That is at Kaguta Museveni. Then the hashtag is Know Your Budget 23. The tags include the Ministry of Finance. Furthermore, PicTech Magazine at PicTech Magazine was tweeting next financial year 2023-2024, 60 billion Ugandan shillings has been allocated for scaling the youth. Then 192 billion Ugandan shillings has been provided to accelerate digital transformation, as 257 billion has been provided to support science, innovation and technology development. That is according to PicTech Magazine, of course, looking through when it comes to Uganda's ICT sector, which is also a pivotal sector within the country. Now, tweets by Malay Solomon Grace at Malay Solomon G with a tweet, Uganda's national budget for the financial year 2023-2024 in context, public debt. He did mention that 80.8 trillion of the shillings is also going in to service the debt. Then the government of Uganda, with its Twitter handle at Government Uganda, says government will maintain security, good governance and rule of law in the financial year 2023-2024. Still, the hashtag was Know Your Budget 23. And when you look at maintaining security, good governance and rule of law, 9.1 trillion shillings has been allocated heading to security and governance. And of course, when you look at that 9.1 trillion will as well be tapped by the legislature and the administration of justice. Then furthermore, the Uganda Media Center, quoting Honorable Matia Kasaija at Matia K5, that the Uganda shilling has remained stable against major global currencies, despite the strengthening of the US dollar. Hashtag Know Your Budget 23. That is according to the Uganda Media Center and what they were actually able to tweet yesterday. And then also furthermore from the government of Uganda at Gov Uganda, that the funding for this budget will come from local sources, including taxes and other domestic revenues. It will also involve support from projects, assistance from international partners, and borrowing within the country. Hashtag Know Your Budget. Lastly, Robert Sharp Mugabe at Sharp Mugabe says, Know Your Budget 23 at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development has allocated 2.4 trillion shillings for supporting the growth of the private sector. And on these priority areas include SMEs, industrial development and investment, plus tourism promotion. And of course, when you look at supporting the private sector growth, 2.4 trillion shillings of that has been highlighted as a key in the same. So 2.4 trillion will be heading to supporting private sector growth. Big discussions regarding the private sector growth and how much the government is willing to put in there. We have private sector players this very fruitful day, as we'll be discussing more of that. Now, as I'm signing up, remember to invest and grow your investments with the ZAB platform. *292# is the USSD code that you need to use to kickstart off your investment with the platform. Remember, the markets on the platform open at 8:15 a.m. and closing time at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. Zabu says that my money, my future. But of course, if you want to register with the platform, you need your national identification number ready with you. And in the next 24 hours, you'll be able to invest and grow with the Zabu platform. The markets are fully closed during the weekends and on public holidays, but the rest of the days you can grow your investments with Zabu. Zabu, my money, my future. Altex East Africa reminds you to do something new. Wellen, many thanks for being part of our conversations. I've been having Mr. Ben Sebuguzi. Many thanks for joining us today.
I'm grateful for hosting me.
All right. And of course, for all the viewers out there, stick around to Smart 24 television. Coming up is Anthony Sebale, who'll be giving you more details as well from Uganda's financial market space. But, well, our programming in regards to the post-budget breakdown does continue immediately. So stick around as we'll be breaking down, analyzing key sectors within Uganda's economy. Good morning.
Smart 24